tell me how, because as a person that has never experienced this kind of path, I would be afraid of getting lost during the path, you know, because it's, as you said, it's, you have to be brave, you have to be, that's the greatest endeavour of life, and it's so difficult that I would think maybe in some moments I would feel lost, and I mean, you're not there with me, how can you how can you help me not getting lost and or recover the path if I go out a little bit?
Yeah. Well, again, it's like the beauty is often that you will always have experiences that show you that there is meaning. People say there's always a meaning, there's always a reason for everything. But you have to get very good at seeing what that might be. And knowing that you don't ultimately know, but having the faith that there's always a meaning. So at first, quite often in the path, if you have the aptitude and the readiness, it's quite easy, actually. The path in some ways does get harder. So I don't want to give this sense that it's always hard and difficult and so forth. I know when I first started out, because of whatever reason there was support, and that's what having a guide can definitely help with. But there always will be, when you're being stretched, as with anything, there is a moving out of your comfort zone. And if you know the truth to move out of the comfort zone, you will move out of your comfort zone. It's not for you to live in fear. In fact, it's to recognize that there's always a good reason, and to see thousands upon thousands of times when you've got a story in your head that, it shouldn't be like this. You can use inquiry, for instance, to realize, now I get it, what this is trying to show me. It's always trying to undermine, to become comfortable in the process of the undermining of your ego. And at first, quite often, it's made easy. This is they say God moves in mysterious ways. You begin to see that he gives you life, gives you what you need. An old teacher of mine, John DeRoda, would say that you're pushed just enough. People would say, I can't stand it, it's too much. No. When you take that red pill, so to speak, and you say, I'm doing this, you're moving out of like a kind of the stasis of being in the matrix to where you'll be pushed. You'll be constantly pushed to the edge of your capacity. And you will also know underneath that you would have it no other way. That's part of the reflection. That's part of me helping you reflect upon that and begin to understand what you're doing. Because it is possible to get lost. I mean, the idea of accelerating through, you begin to see many, many levels of awakening. You accept the difficulty of it. You would have it no other way. Not that you would necessarily know why it is always so difficult, but you, at moments and underneath, I think always, you will get a sense of like the beauty of the complexity of the whole return to oneness. How the whole edifice of untruth is gradually taken apart piece by piece. And it's all on God or life's time. And it all gradually chips away at your ego. Now, that can be painful at times. But to live inside a completely false ego, when you've begun to see that it's false, well, it's, I mean, again, if you're quite happy with your life as is, then that person is not going to have, they'll see they're not built for it. There's no reason to aspire to something that you're not into or you think is just crap. If you think I'm speaking crap, then honestly, you're completely, that's what if you're designed for your life as it is, stay with it. I honestly do not think that everybody has to have some highfalutin, high-level, so to speak, spiritual path. And if you think that's nonsense, then honestly, don't do it. But because In a way, I'm loath to say it, to open up the difficulty of it, because I don't want you to take that as a position. It's more just about developing a kind of sense of realism. And that's really, in many ways, what spirituality is like realism and profound kind of honesty within yourself, with yourself. Because, I mean, the world in many ways is a manifestation of some of what we've inherited. Many of humans' greatest talents is we lie to ourselves, individually and collectively, and we keep living lies. We keep living as if things are true that aren't true. And we know they're not true, and we don't obey our own depths. So we have to actually, it's all about looking inside and seeing all the elements within and getting a sense of what really drives us. And we begin to see that it's actually the deep stuff that drives us, and so it should. Because if the shallow stuff drives us, well, we may be unsatisfied at some point. And if we're not, we're not. If we become unsatisfied, then we know we have to go deeper. It's just how to do it. Many people avoid it because they don't know how to proceed. And there's a clash with what they're told around them. And they assume that the world around them must have validity. But I think they have to understand. You have to get the courage to realize it doesn't matter if 99 people tell you something's true if you know that it's not true. Imagine, again, the matrix idea. Imagine if the world was a matrix and everybody agreed that such and such was real. Or a dream. And you look around and say, yeah, everyone says, yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, what we do in this world is we do this and we believe this. It still doesn't necessarily make it true. And you're going to feel uncomfortable being that one person who says, no, I know that there's a difference between me just being contrary out of my nature, I want to do differently, and me actually knowing that there's something more than this, and I'm willing to question that. And that isn't some personal affectation. It's not me jumping to another personality, lifestyle choice. As some people find the limitation of yoga is. It's like a new place of belonging, but it stops challenging them. To actually get to a point where they question everything inside themselves and everything around them in a non-dogmatic way. It's a very subtle thing. Entering into a field of knowing and unknowing at the same time. But I mean, when you get a glimpse of it, it's like, the threat is that you'll be all alone there. And that's true in a sense. Aloneness is different from loneliness. Because if you're the one, so to speak, in matrix terms, or your consciousness itself, your ego naturally has a certain amount of fear. The mind wants to hold on to its take on reality. Mind and ego are very closely interrelated there. So you have to show a kind of a bravery. You have to find this new part of yourself and start siding with it. And yeah, my job in some ways is to inspire that in a way that's sane and balanced, and help along the way for those who really want to do that. But then again, you might just want to do a little bit of meditation and relax, so that's cool too.